Okay, it's recording. Hi, everybody. Today is episode 4. I think
Four,
it's 5. Is it
five.
4?
Um,
Episode 4 or 5. Welcome to Soul Purpose Conversation. We're coming here, Jan and I are coming here to talk about anything related to soul purpose conversation, just to stimulate this topic because I feel that this is an important time, Jan, to be honest, because important time meaning for people, right? I really hope that everybody coincidentally come across this conversation on YouTube from all over the world because not living on and with purpose, you can just live the entire life like that. And it reminds me of, I don't know if you're familiar with Earl Nightingale's quotes. Most people tiptoe through life hoping to safely make it to death. That's what he said. Most people tiptoe through life hoping to safely make it to death, right? So there is this path that's being laid out for most people, and that path is looking at their parents, looking at the society, looking at what others are doing, and then walk that similar path. So for most people, unless you're living in this sort of Native American or some village or something, I guess if you even living in a village, you might, probably you might go to school, but people go to school. That's a normal thing, without questioning why they're going. Right? I was always questioning why am I going to this place, right? I was probably the only one who was wondering why am I coming here, right? Because I didn't enjoy the content of school, right? So I felt purposeless, yeah,
mhm.
and I think from an early stage, I'm not really sure if this was the influence by my parents or something that I intuitively carried, that making sense of what I'm doing and feeling meaningfully rich experience was important for me, right? So I didn't want to just do things for the sake of doing, but I was always asking why, and living life on purpose and with purpose is something that I value since I was very little. And you just told me that the topic of today is purpose. So, perfect. Do you want to start by why you chose this topic?
It's breaking up terribly, Yuki.
Yeah, you are a little breaking up a little.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is it fine now? Okay. No,
I think you're back though.
okay.
Your screen got
Yes.
blurry.
Okay. Yeah, yours as well.
Oh.
So I missed the end of what you were saying.
At the end, I said why you chose the topic purpose today.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think personally, for a very long time, there was this, and I hear it quite often from people, that I'm trying to find my purpose, or I'm trying to, uh, and what I noticed within myself was I thought that a specific vocation, um, a specific identity that I needed to embody or create in a very egoic sort of way, some sort of success or safety or even a relationship, or it's I think that I for a very long time thought that I needed to find and I did, I guess. That's the funny thing, but that I was trying to find my purpose, but I thought that it was a job or a relationship or some sort of experience some sort of title or identity. And then so through being in the community and working with you and stuff, I can't remember where I heard it, but you did say something like you were talking about this, and you said that everybody's purpose is the same. Like you can sell donuts for a living, you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a musician, you can be those are just jobs, but everybody's purpose is the same. So I thought, I'd ask you more about that, and it's in the name, soul purpose, right? So I think it's a great topic.
Exactly. Everybody's purpose is the same. First of all, purpose is not something that you find. And the fact that you're here on earth means that you're already on purpose. Otherwise, you wouldn't come here, right? And the thing that people are looking for, such as, oh, I gotta find my purpose because people are feeling meaningless, and some occupation or some path is just a vehicle through which the purpose can express. So the vehicle itself is not a purpose, so it could be donuts, right? Purpose is something that you discover. I like that language. And discover means that you are uncovering because it's already inside of us. And, I think this is something that also the painter, Picasso, there's a quote by him that I found out later where he said something similar. He said something, I can't remember. I don't want to mess his quote up. But something along the line of the purpose of life is to find the gift, and the meaning of life is to give it to others. Something like that. He said it, right? For me, purpose of life is to find that unique gift inside of you and to share to the world, to touch others. That's it. And
Why?
Why? That encompasses and describe the meaning that we came here. Because, okay, let's back off a little bit, right? Let's start with why we need to share with others, why we need to give it to others, right? Okay, let's flip that script. What if there's nobody who you can give it to? What's going to happen? Nothing is going to happen, right? Nothing, including if there's nobody who you can share to, including this video that we're creating, that we are streaming. Do we want to create this video if this is going to get stored in the closet? I mean, we can enjoy the time and experience, but there's a receiver, right? There is a giver and a receiver. So the meaning of having, okay, I want to go a little bit more spiritual, but the human differentiation, right? The 8 billion people, or if not 9, depending on when you're watching, right? The differentiation, right? Not the separation, but the human differentiation of unique identity exists so we can share to and with others. If that cycle didn't exist, life becomes meaningless. Elon Musk wouldn't exist without people who will be purchasing Tesla. You know what I mean? The identity of who he is, the identity of who singers are, who entertainers are. Anybody who works at, let's say, if you're a software developer, right? Why are you developing software? Because that's the job. Well, what's the ultimate destination of that cycle? So you can share that to others so somebody can use it. And then the person who is using it, why the person is using it? To produce something, so that production becomes a giving to somebody else, right? Why that person is receiving? The person is receiving because there's a necessity in that field. Why it's necessity? Because that person can produce something through that receiving, right? So there is a cycle of giving and receiving, and we have the human differentiation, 8 billion people, 8 billion minds, and bodies, so we can create an ecosystem of giving and receiving. So if we don't have anybody to give it to, touch to, share with, there's no movement. Then,
What?
yeah,
Mhm. Why? Like what's what's the, I guess for me in my spiritual journey, there are these sort of more profound questions that come up, and one of them was, I do believe that uh, my purpose is to help others to find their purpose, I guess, or a language I like is to shine brightly and help those around me to shine brightly. But then, if you sit with it, it's like, but why? Like, what is if we're all doing that, why? Right? I mean, there is an answer, right?
yeah, I can tell you answer.
Yes.
So everything get to experience itself. That's it.
Everything being another name for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
The universe
you
or.
can yeah, because you can ask why sun exists, why flower exists, why sky exists. It's nice, right? I mean, sun. I mean, I don't know if there's any data where the humanity can exist without the presence of the flowers. We cannot exist without the existence of the sun, for sure, right? So, but then why, right? Because life itself is unfolding to express itself, and so, and
Mhm.
then we are part of it,
Mhm.
right? I mean, sun. The existence of sun becomes meaningful because there is a functionality and a role, right? It's doing something. It's not just existing for the sake of existing. It's giving something, right?
Mhm.
So flower blossom and it's expressing itself, but it's giving something, right? It's giving something to the insect. It's giving something to the human eyes. It's giving something, right? So the expression creates experience to those who receive. So
Mhm.
that cycle, why? Because this human physical realm is the realm of the experience. That's what we're here to do. We're here to experience it.
Mhm. But
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 why?
why?
But why experience?
Yeah.
I don't think there's an answer to that
Yeah.
because you can. Some people ask me if the spiritual realm doesn't have any contrast or negativity or challenges or pain, and especially those who have been going through a lot of pain in this physical realm,
Mhm.
why do we need to go through this, right? Why do we experience this, right? Because only in the physical realm you can experience it. Like there's no experience in the spiritual realm, right? It's there's a state of being and it's like a complete void.
Mhm.
So it's full and it's whole. But you might not recognize that you are because that's all there is.
Yeah. There's no individuality there.
There's no individuality. That's
Mm.
that's an idea in the mind.
Mm. 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 Okay. So what do you think about like this language of the universe is waking up through each and every one of us having this experience?
Can I go back to your question why though? Before I
Yes. Yes.
There's no need to answer the why because the why comes from the individual mind. That question comes from the individual mind. Or why do we need to? You just are. And then the quality and the, I mean, anything and everything that I'm going to say is going to be based on the, the conception, right? That the language level of explanation, right? That's the only way that I can explain, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I be quiet and start moving the hand and I'm explaining, people wouldn't understand, right? The mode of communication in the physical realm is to express an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here to just do that. It's interesting though, because I'm gonna come back to your uh, second question right away, but there is this tendency that I see in the spiritual community where spiritually oriented, waking up people are very curious about being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand the power of now and the power of being present in the moment. And then sometimes, because to do something can contradict the being, means that to begin doing something, you need to almost sacrifice the being. That's my perception, observation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't want to do too much to protect their being,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they want to do from the place of being, right? So sometimes, like language like being right here, unfolding, that softer language resonate better. And on the other side, the personal development, which is the crafting and the polishing of the personality, the belief system, and to grow something in this physical world, use the term very often, you become the person to be able to manifest things in this world, right? And then sometimes I found that people who are really into the spiritual space have a resistance in the term becoming,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because becoming requires a little bit of force in it, a little bit of focus in it, a little bit of decision in it, right? And almost like the term becoming make them compromise the softness of unfolding, the softness of being, and it almost like for them contradict. And my perspective is that, Jan, you cannot not be becoming. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot not be becoming, because let's say for instance,
Because you're always becoming.
you're
Every
always
moment yeah.
you're always becoming. Let's say if let's say, okay, I'm gonna stop becoming anybody. I'm gonna just gonna quiet my mind and be here meditating, right? And you might feel like you're practicing being, right? When we're practicing being, you are constantly becoming.
Mhm.
The reason for that is because there's a passage of time. If
Mhm.
there's a passage of time, you cannot not become, because it's renewing all the time. There's a movement in there, right? So you're unfolding and becoming to a different layer all the time. So that's why, we often talk about the practice of nobodiness, right?
Yeah.
So, in some of the stuff that we do is, okay, we want to create the life of our desire, but we don't want to get attached to it, right? Because attachment has resistance to it. We don't want to fall into this trap of letting the having and doing define ourselves, right? So we practice being nobody to not to be attached to any having and doing, but you cannot be nobody, because the moment you say that you're nobody, you are somebody that's called nobody, right? So
Mhm.
it's the same thing. When you're practicing being, you cannot not be becoming. When you're practicing the nobodiness, you can not be
Nobody.
someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah, yeah,
Somebody that's nobody.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think the language around becoming, for me, I guess this is I'm a little bit more aware of the Buddhists have a phrase of like self improvement is an aggression against the self, and to bring that into soul purpose language, into our, into our stuff. You said once, you said, if I have to go from over here to over there, to feel more safe, more whole, more successful, that's not good. But if I can do anything in this life to enrich the experience, with or without it, I am whole, safe, all of those things. And I guess that those sort of semantics, or those, it's really important for me as I do, to just check my attachments. And this is something that's very apparent for me, because I definitely fall more. I know I see people that are very good at doing, and they actually, a lot of them do it at the expense of the being, if we have to stick with that. I'm very much on the being side, and when I start to do, as you said, I do start to feel like I'm losing contact with the deeper parts of myself, and it's something that I have to work on. It's the being and doing is very apparent for me, and or the being doing.
Yeah, that's that journey of integration.
Yeah.
When let's say, I don't think there's any problem or issue with seeking something better or something great, right? Like, for instance, let's say if there are two locations, two spaces, right? One is not taken care of well and dirty. Another one is super clean and organized and taken care of, right? Anybody can want the clean one, right? Then let's compare, right? Places that people stay, right? People can choose what they want, what they feel better, right? There's no problem in that. The challenge is that when we start defining our value with that, our value does not reside in any of the doing and having. We can desire that, right? We can desire something that we want to choose more, right? Meaning quality, right? But I think the attachment and not knowing that you're attached to, and then begin exercising and experiencing some defense around it, and to begin looking at the world from that place instead of understanding all the layers, can be dangerous, I think, in my opinion. I love, I don't know if this is true, this is something that I heard. I love the idea that Deepak, because he's so well known, right? And he's a medical doctor that basically made spirituality mainstream in his way. He says that, or somebody says that he goes to a place that nobody knows him once a year or something, so he can cleanse his attachment to the identity. Yeah, attachment to the identity. Yeah, that's the blind spot for a lot of people, right? So nothing wrong with creating something good to expand, but can we do that without being attached to our identity? Because something about being attached to that identity that is toxic.
Yeah, it starts to eat you.
Start to eat you. Yeah, that's what I experienced when I was dancing. Yeah, you start being. Did I share this with you?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so in my early 20s, I was dancing, right?
Yep.
And then maybe the first opportunity that I had was when I was 19. It was a music video, right? And then you start something about, and maybe because before that, before I started to dance young, I wasn't very safe in my skin. Means that I wasn't a confident child at all.
Mm.
I wasn't. Yeah, especially because of the asthma stuff, right?
Yeah.
And in the vehicle dance changed me that. Yeah. But let's say if things start getting better, right? Like people start acknowledging you, you start feeling like you're contributing to do something, right? But inside, I had this background of feeling insecure about myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I felt insecure or not feeling confident, that's the better language, was because the world wasn't an easy place for me to live. That's because I suffer from asthma, right? So if you are suffering and not being able to breathe the way you
Yeah.
want to,
Yeah.
every day is a struggle. Then the world becomes a challenging place to live. Then I became somebody who is not strong or um, not val. I didn't have any like a not feeling valuable. I guess that I think that was what it was, not being able to contribute, right? And then dance, I when I started to dance, I started to really feel addicted to the dance. I felt good about practicing and seeing myself being able to dance better. And then through that, I sort of expanded my network and opportunities start to come to me. And then it's all about, I cannot tell you how much life can change through relationship. I met
Mm.
somebody, and then that changed everything. And I met somebody else through that somebody, and that changed everything. Means that opportunity flew towards me, right? I
Mm.
wasn't really aware of the law of attraction back then, but it was attracting really fast. Like from 22 to 23, I cannot believe in that 1 year how my life has changed. Means that I was somebody who was practicing, but then the next moment I was on TV everywhere, dancing behind the singer. Then when you start experiencing that, you like dancing and you start performing that identity. And then deeper part of me, Jan, and it's very interesting because I share this with other Japanese dancer friend who I recently connected not too long ago, that I had this internal dilemma that I was feeling so good. My ego was feeling so good, getting the spotlight, right? Dancing behind somebody who was the fastest growing singer at that time. And deeper inside, I was feeling so not good that I felt like I was there to almost like prove the world that I am good by doing what
Mm.
I was doing. And my friend told me that, wow, you are aware of that at the age of 22, 23. Yes, I was. I was I was aware that I was feeling. I didn't know how to handle it,
Mhm.
right? So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that um growing and doing a lot of stuff, I would never say that that was not a great path. It was, right? And it's interesting though because people who I started to dance for her are still dancing with her
Mhm.
now. Yeah. So basically, I was given almost a path that can guarantee the rest of my dance career,
Yeah.
right? Back then. But then something inside of me said to get out. So I said,
Mm. Ooh, I want to ask you about that. We can come back to that other question later. Um, so on the alchemy call,
uh-huh.
we were talking about, people were talking about leaving success, external success, to follow their, you know, their passion, I guess. Well, to explore their true purpose. And so the conversation that came up was, you know, people were basically saying like, I wonder why, you know, why it's why I was successful. I had a type of business. I made money, but I was going to divorce my wife, or I was not happy, or I was whatever. And even, you know, maybe not even that extreme, but it wasn't fulfilling me in the right ways. So I stopped doing that, and now I'm following a soul-led path, and I'm not quite back where I was then financially. You know, when you said that something happened to you when you were dancing, that you chose not to follow that career, why? What was that?
So it's not that I didn't choose not to follow the career. I wanted to move to Los Angeles. Something was calling me. Yeah. And dance was calling me. The all the other cultural stuff, the way that Los Angeles and dancers and entertainment industry was expressing was calling me.
Mm-hmm.
Japan is good. There's a lot of great things about Japan. Something about Japan that I wanted to break out of, because my personality and the way that I think and the way that I operate doesn't fit into Japanese culture, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I knew that it was a place that I need to get out of. And it's interesting though, Jan. I don't know if I share this with you. Because that career that I enter was very obvious that it was on the upward trend,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every single month I saw and I felt that this group was growing, just like the Soul Purpose group is happening right now, but
Mm-hmm.
probably even faster. It was growing, right? That the music was getting number one, right? If you like, let's say for instance, there's a place called Shibuya in Tokyo, just like New York, and you have billboard, right? There's a billboard and playing the music video, right? So you see that happening in real time. And I felt this is good because I'm contributing to what's growing.
Mm-hmm.
And underneath, I had this sort of nudge to move to the US that I was actually waiting. At that point, I was waiting for like 4 or 5 years doing it. I won it 5 years ago, right? And then I said to myself, if I don't get out right now, I won't be able to get out. Because the more successful that artist becomes, the more difficult it will be for me to get out.
Mm.
That's what led me to get out then.
So you came
Uh-huh.
to continue dancing. Why did you pivot? Why did you, I mean, how did you end up in
Yeah,
this?
yeah. So I did say that I wanted to come to Los Angeles for that, but then I knew that something else was waiting for me,
Mm-hmm.
because even in Japan, in Tokyo, I was externally a dancer, internally a spiritual seeker
Mm-hmm.
all the time since 16, 17. And something inside of me knew, intuition, this was intuition, that I said that I'm moving. I said to everybody, I'm moving for dance to Los Angeles, goodbye. And internally, I knew that it was for something else.
Uh,
So that's an internal journey, but externally, why I pivoted from dance, because I threw my back multiple times during audition. I had a Belgian disc,
uh-huh.
and
And
then
then, yeah.
uh
So
uh,
then you studied holistic medicine.
yeah, holistic health.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then Bob Proctor, and then Soul Purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You know, even when I was in Japan, though, spirituality didn't feel like to me it was a focus enough sort of subject. It was more like broad perspective. I was
Mhm.
so interested in the field called transpersonal psychology, which was psychology beyond the cognition. It's a transpersonal, so it's a gateway. There's a field called transpersonal psychology, and then when I came across that book and when I read it, I knew that something about this is what I'm going to do in the future, right? And something about this is exactly what we are doing currently.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, back then there wasn't too much of this like a coaching stuff, right? There wasn't. I wasn't sure if that was a therapy path. I just felt like something was bringing me home and sharing that and teaching that and to educate people to become aware of this was giving me the most nourishment inside.
Mm.
Yeah. So
So, mhm.
in the back of my mind, that was there always when I was
Mhm.
dancing.
Mhm.
I don't know how I'm gonna learn to do that, but I knew that that's what I was called to do when I read
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
So, in your own words, what would you say Yuki Yoshi's purpose is?
it's the same.
It's
So
the same.
it's the same as everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, my journey has been to integrate and discover what my gift is, and then to share that to the world so others can discover theirs.
Mhm.
There's no
So
end.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. So then the last question is, it's why again, but with the sort of tangent of what do you think of this language of the universe is waking up through each of us
That's right.
having this experience? And then
What
how does that tie in with purpose? Because
what do
there's
I
lots of
think?
people that don't have, they're not in touch with their purpose.
Yeah. Your question is, what do I think about this idea that the universe is waking up?
Hmm. And then does that tie in with our purpose?
Yeah, I do think that there's a cosmic intention, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not really sure, to be honest, though, Jan,
Mhm.
if it's true to say that the universe is waking up.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the information that we talk about has always been talking about in 19th century, in 18th century, in the time of Plato, in the time of all those people.
But don't you think that more people are um, in these conversations than then?
Yeah. So my question is, why do you think that is? Because of the internet,
Yeah.
right? So because of the internet and the way that the communication has been evolved, the idea and the conversation of awakening has been accessible for a lot of people. That doesn't mean that actually truly
Mm.
each person is waking up, because we all, you know, this information is not what wakes people up.
Yes.
Right? So it appears on a surface base that the information is going around. So we can say that because a lot of people are more talking about this, the universe must be waking up, right? I would say that there are people who have been waking up in the universe all the time, and the conversation about it is being spread and heard more, obviously, because of the internet. I don't know if there's any difference in the level of awakening between 15th century and 21st century, because I
Mhm.
think there are more people who are getting in touch with this information, but the embodiment of it, the danger is that because people can access that easily, they might not be committing to do that deep work because of that, right? Because they can access that anytime. So it's a great thing that people have access to it, but also we want to educate for people to become aware of what is it actually, the self definition of awakening, right? Self definition of awakening is how do you live and how would you be in this world when you're actually demonstrating that awakening, not talking about it.
Yeah.
Does that answer?
Yeah. It's a brilliant answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, because even if if you listen to any of the very popular new age spiritual people like Eckhart Tolle, and I can't remember who else said it, but they often talk about this collective consciousness concept, or
Yeah.
the amount of people that are waking up now, and even sort of terms like the golden age is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Even like there's a book, it's an economic book, but it's called The Fourth Turning, which is about these sort of cycles that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if we bring it into sort of a spiritual language, the the dying of the flower is coupled with pandemics and world wars, and then these guys in the Fourth Turning book, I think they say it's every 40 years there are these turnings that happen, and uh, we're at the end of like the biggest turning before. um there's all sorts of interesting stuff, like babies have got slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
um the babies being born now are a little bit more evolved, or whatever language you want to use, a little bit more indigo child. The it's a lovely concept, and I think I appreciate you not standing on it and saying, yeah, that's definitely happening, but rather being like, well, it could just be the internet. I love that. I love that. There is no certainty, but it is a lovely concept that I do like the idea that even though there's so many horrific things happening at the moment, that there are also a lot of people that are, to the best of their ability, trying to be more spiritual.
Yeah. There is this sort of perspective where, we have this chakra system, right? And then chakra also has this collective movement where we're entering into the heart chakra phase of that era. So people are more being heart center, more embracing authenticity, all that. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I feel very certain about. I mean, I wasn't planning to answer that way when you asked that question, but I feel like when we think of Buddha, or Jesus, or I don't know, Plato keeps coming up in my mind.
Mhm.
They were, I think, realized people, right? And Eckhart Tolle can do what he can do because of the internet.
Mhm.
Right? So people can get exposed to his energy. So I don't think that wasn't there before. It was there, but the tool to communicate easily wasn't there before like we do now. So
Mhm.
it appears that there's more, and probably it is, but also there's a you know always downside of it, right?
The access creates like a lack of urgency.
Yeah, and then also the access creates lack of urgency, and also it becomes like you can listen to Renee Brown, right, on YouTube, and people can say that that's my spiritual practice, right?
Mhm.
I'm listening to the meditation audio on YouTube, and that's my spiritual practice. And then they can live like that, thinking that they're having a spiritual practice, which is fine, but not shifting their identity,
Mm.
right? No, I mean, spiritual. What is spiritual awakening? There needs to be a transformation, right? And
Mm.
transformation means to change identity. That's what transformation means. So if the
Mhm.
identity, so what is transformation? What is changing identity? Changing identity is to change belief, change perspective, right?
Mhm.
So if someone is not aware of the perspective that he or she is choosing to see, every information gets filtered through that perspective until that person realizes that, oh, it's the perspective that I can change. Then they would consume information, another information, filtering through the same perspective, same identity, not shifting the identity at all, but feeling good momentarily because they think that they learned something,
Mhm.
right? So I
Mhm.
think I think the self-reflection piece is important. Just like we say often, we don't want to be reading the books, but we want to be studying ourselves through the information in the book,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I think until people start understanding that, even like this kind of information that we're putting out there, people can listen to and then move on to something else.
Mhm.
And then listen to something else that they move on to, and then move on to something else. And then thinking that, oh, that was helpful and interesting, and begin
Mm.
living as if they never had anything that we talked about,
Mm.
because the behavior and the thinking patterns and the emotional home that they're living is exactly the same. They don't know how
Yeah.
to change it. Yeah. Then the transformation won't happen. Then the question is that the awakening that we're talking about, or is that a spreading of the information, right? So that's another layer. That's why we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Mm. Fascinating. Mm.
Yeah. So I think in order for transformation to happen, the decision needs to be made. That's what's missing. That the spreading and the overflow of the information diminishes decision to change, right? Because they can access anytime, anywhere, at their convenience.
Yeah. And it very much feels like you're accomplishing something, or I mean, it could just be a distraction, but I mean, this again comes back to the my sort of terminology of, I know that you have a very good description of frequency and vibration and stuff, but whether I'm in therapy or I'm on the couch eating pizza, it's the same thing if
Mhm.
I'm the same internally.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there was periods in my life where I was running and listening to audio books, and I had a big shelf full of self-help books, and and you feel great consuming all the information. And I
Right.
have a head full of all of that knowledge. Probably most of it I can't remember because I never studied any of it.
Mm.
But there was brief moments of application. You read Atomic Habits, and then now you're focused on habits, and then you read Power of Now, and then you focused on presence. But it's just, as you said,
Yeah.
it's nothing is really being studied. And uh, yeah, it's interesting that the yeah. Mm.
You can really realize through checklist, you know You can check the list of, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. There needs to be a little deeper process and integration. Realization is the acceptance in the subconscious. So if the subconscious pool of energetic is operating the same way, that must change, right? The information allows us to recognize about something, and how do we actually move that into the womb of creation, to the
Mm,
subconscious, so we can actually alter
mm.
what's fundamentally causing us to appear the way we appear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I have some big questions that come out of this that we can maybe climb into next time. But
yeah,
because maybe it's all perfect,
yeah.
maybe, I mean, it's not the most efficient way to, I mean, for me, it's like the biggest lessons I had to learn, all the very first few of them I had to learn through like rock bottom experiences.
Mm.
I had to really suffer to learn, and then I learned a lesson of like, maybe I don't have to experience a rock bottom in order to and so then the learning process changed. And then I guess it's just the same for this. It's like, consuming endless amounts of information on YouTube or in books isn't the most it's not the best way to have a transformation, but something's going to change. I mean, even if you just get to a point where you realize the futility of that, and that you should maybe pick 3 books and study them.
Mm-hmm.
um, so it is perfect. And people that go their entire life never realizing any of that or whatever, that's perfect too, I guess. Maybe they just weren't supposed to get it in this lifetime. Who knows? I mean, these are very big questions that
Yeah,
I guess we all would love to know the answers to, but that's why they exist.
yeah. Well, and then people can live however they want to live based on the desire that they have, right? If they have a desire and the life that they're living is not meeting the desire, let's talk
That's
about
fine.
how we can change. But nobody has, if we're not harming others, nobody has the right to suggest what the desire should be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. No. Let's leave it
I
there.
know we can talk about things for 10 hours.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
these conversations.
Um, do you have anything else to finalize? I don't know if you remember, we started this conversation talking about purpose.
Purpose. Yeah. I don't really have anything. I think we did thoroughly come back to it. It's I guess all I would say is that really what was quite freeing for me was realizing that I can do anything in this life,
Mm-hmm.
that I only have one purpose, and whatever I choose to do in this life, whether it be to work in corporate and hate it, because that's a choice, or to find something that I want to share and express to the world that makes me feel better and hopefully benefits the world, without being attached to that.
Yeah.
And uh, that my purpose is the same. Like it's the way I choose to express it doesn't matter. And whether you're a mom or a police officer or a donut salesman or a whatever it is, if that's how you choose to share your light, that's awesome. That you don't have to think that you have to be anything, that the purpose is dependent on the vocation. It's
Yeah.
the other way around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 And then also, though, just the last piece, I do, however, think that people have their zone of geniuses. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, I wouldn't spend my time devoting on Notion like you do. You know what I mean? There's
I
some. something that inspires you, right?
Yeah. Look, the funny thing, Yuki, about Notion is I had a big block towards Notion for a very long time. But when you started to talk about what you needed, I knew that the solution was there. And then so I went over a weekend or a week and I learned how to use it, even in ways that aren't easy to find.
Mm.
And so, yeah, that's my zone of genius, not Notion.
Right. Your strength is in analyzing and assessing and breaking down a little bit and putting together, some problem solving almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love giving a white sheet of paper and begin painting the vision and begin moving towards that, right? It's not, I don't do well with a spreadsheet. So
Mhm.
it's just a preference and how much your strength and how much you can lean into that. So occupation, vocation, I think people usually want to find something that um, allow them to feel good. And the wrong approach that I see often is that people start looking for the opportunity outside to see
Mhm.
what's good out there. But my recommendation has always been, Jan, that what is it that you want to do, how you want to spend your time, and then begin painting that first.
Mhm.
Because unless you do that, you're confined with this,
Mhm.
you know, past based perceived notion that that's all there is. And I think I have attracted different opportunities that I make my own schedule because I always have believed in that.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I say this can trigger people. I have never done nine to five job ever in my
Mhm.
entire life. I work at the part-time job, right? When I was younger and I moved into dance, I taught dance. I went for tour and then I started to teach exercise. I started to do body work, but all of those, I schedule my own time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Me as well.
so like if you want that and if you that's the life that you want to be living, you will attract that opportunity, not because it doesn't exist, but you will only attract 95 or something that's mainstream if you assume that that's all there is out there. There's always a way. That way will be shown. We don't. I cannot tell anybody how that's gonna be shown. It's gonna be shown if you start there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So imagine the way you want your life to be and reverse engineer that
Hmm.
into a job, well, back to the purpose. Yeah.
Hmm. And I think
And
it's.
then,
Mhm.
yeah. And then just, I know I said, just to clarify what I was saying, uh, I said something about like corporate and not enjoying it. And then, you can, you can enjoy your whatever it is, your whatever job you choose, as a byproduct of I think if you live truly from purpose, you will probably enjoy it. But you can't. Oh, I don't know. I'm losing myself here in some tangents.
Mm.
Um, the doing it because you hope you're going to enjoy it is the wrong energy.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
but you can enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know,
It
one thing I want to mention related to what you're talking about, because this comes up very often when I talk to people. When I ask people, what is it that you want to do? Many people tell me, I want to help people.
Mhm.
And what I want people to understand is that regardless of what you do, if it's an occupation, you're always helping somebody, right? So when somebody tells me, I want to help people, what does that mean, right? you are good with people and you want to be interacting with people, or do you want to help in a way that you can wake people up? What is that, right? Helping people is not a vocation.
It's
Yeah,
too broad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you want to help people?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's anything that we do is serving and helping. You know, in Japanese language, work stand for two Chinese character, and it means things to serve. That's what work means.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So I think people have this idea of job and boxing job, but every work is work, right? That's my perception of what work is. Work is a vehicle and a way through which we serve and help people, right? So when people say, I want to help people, well, anything and everything is that. So what is it? Right? Yeah.
So, just one last thing. So, would you say that you grew up without a lot of like Western conditioning? I mean, you obviously.
Western conditioning. What is Western conditioning in this?
Well, I think that a lot of people that grow up in the West have these beliefs about work and about 9 to 5s and about even about spirituality. And I mean, there's just tons and tons of um, beliefs that are very West oriented. You know?
So the East that I was living, Tokyo, was also like that though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. People were boxed into a certain model of the adult life. I don't know if that's an influence by the West. Um, because I lived in the city, Tokyo. I wasn't living in a village or anything, right? So
Hmm.
in Peru, where I grew up too, people were working, right? So yeah, something about the idea of work that I don't know if that's a westernized idea of spending a certain hours. Like right now, speaking of, the universe is waking up. The universe is waking up in a way that allows us to provide the work environment conducive to the unfoldment of the soul. Means
Yeah.
that you're not tied into location, you're not tied into specific hours, right? And the internet and the way in which we can communicate and create and produce has evolved, and that's actually a truly waking up. The universe is waking up, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Are we good?
Yeah. Thank you, Yuki, for your time. That was a wonderful.
Thank you. I'm gonna invite everybody to the Soul Purpose group. So we're doing this conversation because we have the Soul Purpose group on school group. I'm gonna post the link below. And Jan has this alchemy call on Sunday that any members can join. And I would say that's a call for people to share their stories. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think a lot of people are benefiting from it. So if any of the things that we spoke feel resonate, click the link below. And if you can join us, that'd be fantastic. Okay.
Mhm.
Until next time. Thank you.